here. And Michael, you know how things you know how things pivot. Things tend to change when you change the venue and you see a different energy and a different style of play. What was most notable to you tonight that was different, Michael?
Energy. I mean, for one, the Bucks sort of just wandered in. They didn't know what they were going to get from Giannis when we were in Phoenix when this series started. But you could feel everything going on here, Scott. I'm sure you could sense it all the way back in Washington, about 800 miles. But the thing that is so noticeable about the Milwaukee Bucks is when they play with force, when they realize they're the bigger, stronger team. I don't care who the opposition has been in these playoffs, the Bucks look like a real championship level team. But you don't know the next game when they come out and they float and they shoot threes and they forget who they are, or they just go away from who they are. We don't know what we're going to get from time to time, but they played with all of that force and energy tonight in Game 3.
Stephen A., when we spoke last after Game 2, you were emphatic about Coach Bud's got to make some adjustments, and you wanted to see some help from Middleton and Holiday. I feel like we know what we got from Middleton and Holiday on top of the 40-plus from Giannis once again. What do you think about how the Bucks answered in terms of making adjustments?
Well, I'm going to take a moment to give Wilbon in the interior. They recognized they were a bit bigger the physical team, and they attacked. Most of that run in the second quarter came with DeAndre Ayton on the bench because he picked up his third foul. From that point forward, you saw numerous plays where Devin Booker was on Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek Freak. There's no possible way he can be expected to guard the Greek Freak. And then when you take that into consideration and you start getting to the hole and you hit 14 to 23 shots and you shoot 13 to 17 from the free throw line, you all of a sudden, oh my goodness, this epiphany hits you. Guess what? If we attack the rim, if we don't make the layup, Mike Wilbon, we might get fouled and we might get to the free throw line. And oh my goodness, we might actually make more than we miss. This is the Milwaukee Bucks team that was considered a title contender. They played like it tonight. They've got size. They've got physicality. They big boyed the Phoenix Suns. They bullied them. They forced the Phoenix Suns to actually try to engage in playing a zone with Crowder in the middle because you couldn't rely on Frank Kaminsky coming on the court to give you anything when it really, really counted. So they had to go small and go to a zone. That was their only prayer. So now what they see is, hey, guess what? They're the bigger, more physical team, and Devin Booker is going to have to play better. He's the key, Scott Van Pelt. He shot 3 of 14. He was absolutely awful. This was clearly his worst offensive performance of the postseason. He's got to make up for that because when he's balling, along with CP3, they could potentially overcome. But that's the only way they could do it because they just don't have the horses, particularly with Dario Saric out, just like Tim Legler pointed out before we came on.
Yeah, the depth issue is something we alluded to the other night. You wonder, is fatigue going to be a factor? But I want to follow Stephen A. on what you just mentioned. You know, Michael, the saying in the NFL that defense travels, right? That's one thing you can count on. You know, it's not a variable. You're going to have nights where you make some threes. You're going to have nights where you don't miss threes. But I just wonder, Michael, just from a mentality, you look at this game if you're the Bucks and say, we're going to bully him, to use Stephen A's word again. Like, that's something you could lean into moving forward to try to win 3 more games. That has to be their approach, doesn't it?
Scott, it has to be, except it hasn't been. Every other game, we're asking the same things about the Milwaukee Bucks. Every series, the Bucks have done this where they storm the paint. They're the bigger, stronger, more athletic team. And in the next game, they just wander out and shoot threes, and Giannis is not in the paint. Look, the two things. One, are they going to play to that form again on Wednesday night in Game 4? That's question one. Question two, are they going to get everybody in that ensemble? I kept telling Stephen A. before the game, everybody has to play. I don't want to hear about an X factor. Which person's going to form a tag team with Giannis? They all got to play. Middleton has to play. Drew Holiday has to play. You have to get something from Bobby Portis. Remember, Coach Bud, for 3 consecutive games against Brooklyn, 5, 6, and 7, didn't even play Portis. And that's why I've said all postseason, I don't trust them because I don't know what they're going to give me back-to-back games. You would think now, Scott, in the finals, that they got 2 days to reinforce to each other, the coaching staff, the players, and everybody around the Bucks. Hey, fellas, This is what we do, and we can be a championship team. But you know what? If they do that, it'll be the first time.
That's right.
Because they go away from it time after time after time.
Listen, that's why I came on the air the other night, Scott, and I said that I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it was a clueless performance by them. Kendrick Perkins was far more harsher than me, and obviously Michael Wilbon was a bit more diplomatic than the both of us, but all three of our points were consistent and were to the point. This team, we know what the ingredients to their success is in Milwaukee. They know it too, but somehow inexplicably from game to game they're like a roller coaster. They are devoid of consistency, which means that Phoenix always has a chance, because with Phoenix it's injuries that have gotten in the way. It's compromised their depth. That's what's gotten in the way. But in terms of how they play, sharing the basketball, moving without the basketball, they know who they are. They know what works for them, and when it works, they keep on doing it. Tonight, Devin Booker just didn't have it. But if he has it, and Chris Paul has it, and Cameron Johnson comes off the bench, who I believe should be utilized more, and DeAndre Ayton can stay out of foul trouble, it's going to come down, who's the more consistent team? Who can you trust to hold on to their identity? Tonight, the Bucks showed up, but that wasn't the case in games 1 and 2. We'll see if they show up and do the same thing in game 4.
Please tell me, Stephen A., that somewhere you're going to get some rest. I appreciate you being with me the other night. Then I see you in Vegas doing your thing. Now I see you here. Just please tell me you're going to get some rest. Well, you earn every dollar. You're a star. Get some rest.
I appreciate it, but winners do what it takes. When the job is finished, that's when I'll get rest.
He got his energy from that white jacket in Vegas last night, Scott.
I saw the chains.
Hey, fellas.
Yeah.
Was it not smooth? Was it not smooth?
It was.
That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking.
Clean, very clean always.
He keeps going like this.
Get some rest. Stephen A. Smith, Michael Wilbon. We'll see you for First Take in the morning and talk to you the other after Game 4. Appreciate you, gentlemen. All right. We get to Coach Bud, who was called out the other night for his failure to make some adjustments. In this one, you trust Giannis, you leaned into him, and here's what Coach Budenholzer had to say about his two-time MVP.
You know, he's just doing whatever it takes to help his team, to help us. You know, he's in an aggressive mindset. He always plays that way. But I thought he played with the pass well, made some great reads, found guys, played against the zone. He just did a little bit of everything, offensive boards, put backs. You know, so we need a lot from him, and that's what he does.
More of the statistical dominance of Giannis, just the fourth player in the last half century with 40 and 20 in the NBA Finals. Kyrie was the last. The other two on the list, Kobe and Shaq, both went on to win a title. You said it's really fractional. The difference between winning and losing maybe isn't as wide a margin as it might have seemed. The biggest difference in the estimation of you two tonight, Jeff, and you could start, is what?
Phoenix didn't shoot it well. Milwaukee did. I thought both teams played hard. I loved what Milwaukee did the other night to start the game. They just didn't sustain it in Game 2 from a shooting standpoint. And tonight they pounded the board. They did a lot of things well. And I think what we often forget, Scott, it's hard to win one game in this league, one playoff game, one series. We act and we speak like this is easy, like you're not playing against another team as good or as committed as you are. So I think we forget that it is really close between these teams and how hard it is to win.
And to me, the thing that stood out is they got after it defensively, and Giannis did a great job of setting the tone, being aggressive, trusting Middleton and Drew Holiday to make plays, and they put the ball in Middleton's hands at time, getting him comfortable.
Yeah, and as we were talking about earlier, just them bullying down low, and Giannis once again, what an astounding talent. Maybe tomorrow people talk more about what he does rather than what he does not, because it's been quite a show from Giannis early on in this series. We'll talk after Game 4. Mark, Jeff, thank you as always.
Thank you, Scott.
Thanks.
As we continue with you until midnight Eastern. No more Suns in 4, as you might have heard in Milwaukee. They're chanting Bucks in 6. Well, that would be the math that might make sense. More from the finals as Giannis goes for a second straight 40-point game. On the other side, after a demoralizing loss, how the Suns handling being on the wrong end of a blowout. More post-game continues in Euro 2020. PKs how Italy's darkest day fueled what turned into a title in Wembley.